It may not mean nothing to y'all, but understand nothing was done for me. So I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this shit for.
All right, guys, what's going on? So this is the second interview that we're doing for our fitness challenge. And today we're talking to Dominick, who is a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine that I've known for, I don't know, Dominick, how long have we known each other? Like at least
Wow,
15 years.
over 10 years, at least 15. Yeah, absolutely. That's
I think
crazy.
at least
Wow.
15. We used to work together a long time ago in a pharmaceutical company. We were both in sales, and it was a good learning experience, to say the least. Good times. But so it's super. I've actually been chasing. You guys don't know this, but I've been chasing Dom down for the last several weeks because he's very busy, and he literally. I mean, yesterday we were texting, and he wakes up like at 4 a.m. and he has a super busy just life, right? And anyway, so I'm super excited to have him tell us his story. And you guys saw from the intro, that. Well, guys, let's just get to it. Dominick, what was the heaviest that you got at one point?
The heaviest I've ever been in my life was 345 pounds.
345 pounds. Wow. So I guess let's rewind the movie a little bit. Before the 345, were you always like that heavy, or did you?
So I was born. I was really chubby. I was like the biggest kid born that day in the hospital. I was a real fat baby. Heavy most of my life. All through high school, I was chubby until about maybe sophomore year. I decided to get serious about my health and started working out. So for about a year and a half in high school, I was in good shape. And then after high school, got to college and got into relationships, and my weight started yo-yoing basically. But I was never thin. I was always chubby. So it would go from 245 to 260 to maybe I would lose 10 pounds, but I would gain it right back because I would do like most people. I lost 10 pounds, so now I can party again. I can do my thing. And it would yo-yo back up. And then it wasn't until I was about 30, when I finally hit almost my 30th birthday that I decided, it's time to get real. It's time to get serious. And if you want, I can get into the actual story that triggers all of that.
I do definitely want to hear about it. But I guess going back to before you got, because you said the heaviest that you were was 340 pounds, right? 345?
345.
345. I mean, that's pretty heavy. But you weren't always like walking around at 345, right? I mean,
No,
you said that you were chubby, right?
I usually was between 250 big bone. I usually was between 250, 260, but that's chubby. I mean, that's still considered overweight. But it wasn't until later in my 20s that I really started letting myself go.
Okay. So, for most people, that sort of weight gain doesn't just happen overnight. And by the way, you guys have heard me say this before. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong and tell me what you think too, but for me, I think the weight gain is not just like a physical thing, but I think in most cases it's also like a mental, like an emotional thing where you just don't feel like, I don't know, maybe trying. You just feel like kind of like chilling, letting go, like you don't want to do anything. What was your story? What happened?
So, and truth be told, I always felt like I was very athletic and very, very active in the sense that I enjoyed to play sports. I liked being outside. I liked to go to the gym and stuff like that. My biggest problem was I had a crutch with food. I looked at food for everything, for celebrations, for depressions, for happiness, for sadness. Food was my comfort. So for me, it was very difficult to let that go, understanding the difference between, what food is and how it truly affects your body, instead of just, I need these cakes, I need these, cookies, because my thing was sweets. I've always been into sweets, cakes and cookies and ice cream and all that stuff. That's absolutely horrible for you. So that's been my biggest downfall, because I'll lose 10 pounds, but then I'll go ahead and feast out on a whole bunch of Haagen-Dazs or a Cold Stone or whatever I can find, and then I'm gaining all the way back. So for me, it was really changing my mindset. Hands down was the most important factor for me to not only lose the weight, but keep that mindset that says, hey, I'm never going to be chubby. I'm never going to be that fat kid again.
And it's funny that you talk about mindset, and we'll talk about this probably a lot more. That's what's fascinating to me about your story. And like, I don't know if you watched Benjo's story also.
Absolutely.
And for me, it's not, I think most people seem to think that it's about six pack or biceps or the, being ripped. But that part is cool, right? But for me, the most fascinating part is the mindset. Is what it takes. What happens to cause somebody to just kind of let themselves go, and at the same time, what happens some in their head to make them all of a sudden shift gears and become hungry and more like not hungry for food, but just
Yeah, yeah,
ambitious and motivated and driven and right, like what happens.
absolutely.
Maybe like that's what it's about. That's what's amazing to me about this. But so what happened to you when you got to 345? I mean, what was there, like one event that happened and all of a
Yes.
sudden like
There
something?
was. So there was a few things. One thing, my knees and my back. I never really had any type of issues like that, but my knees and my back really started giving me problems. I started having to go to the urgent care because I would wake up with like back spasms, and it just was really causing a lot of pain to my legs and my joints. And it was just I was outgrowing myself. I was too heavy and I was moving too much. And I went up to a family wedding. At the time, and it was in New York, and I'm seeing family members that I haven't seen in years, and I have a few of them looking at me, and one of my cousins, he's looking at me from across the table, and I see his face, and he just looks really stunned, and he tells me he can't believe how fat I've gotten. He literally looks me in the face and tells me he can't, but he's stunned at how obese I am now. Like, I've just completely let myself go. And Juan, you know me for a long time. I'm a clown. I joke around. I'm very sarcastic. I don't take anything serious. That hit me like a ton of bricks because he didn't say it in a nice way. He said it in a way like, oh my God, you are fat. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess when I had somebody who hadn't seen me in so long, someone who I really didn't have a real connection with, but I knew he was family. Like when someone from the outside stepped in and said, hey man, it's time you start taking a look, and I came back to Miami after that. I was really offended. I told everybody that my cousin told me I was super fat. And I think it was more to gauge everybody's response. You know what I mean? And I saw a lot of faces. They were like, well, you are, you've gotten a little bit, chubby. So I said, you know what? No more. And I vowed at that point that I was going to make a change. And I started gradually eating better. I started going to the gym. I started exercising. And a lot of things started to change in my life because of the mindset. I mean, once you focus and really put your mind to something, you start to see that every other aspect of your life, every other goal you start to set seems to become easier to accomplish because you've gotten your mind used to breaking things that you thought were never possible. And I think that's what you're talking about, the amazing thing that comes from changing that mindset.
Right. Okay, so we just took a quick break so you could find a better place to say. So we were talking about mindset and what happened, and that your cousin called you fat, and you said you thought that was offensive. Let me ask you: Did you not know? Had you not noticed? Like, what did other people tell you prior to that? Did they just kind of not tell you anything, or humor you, or?
And it's funny, and I've asked, and people have asked me that question so many times, and even I've kind of thought about, like, man, at what point did I say maybe this is a bit much? You go from buying size 34, then to going to 36, then to 38, and I was wearing almost a size 46 waist. Okay, so can you imagine? And at one point I was wearing a size 34 before that. So to jump 10 sizes like that is absolutely insane. You know what I mean? Like it was very, very, yeah. And you just don't realize it. You just don't realize it. Like you don't see it's happening.
And right, because I guess it's so gradual, right? Did before that, did anybody try to like encourage you to get healthier, to lose weight, to go to the gym with them, to, like, I know with Benjo, I asked him, his wife used to, try to bribe him with, a TV and cruises and stuff, and he just like, it just didn't register at that time. For you, did something similar happen or no?
Honestly, at the time, I mean, for most of the part, I was working, at the pharmaceutical company, that time, and we had a gym there. We would all go to the gym there, and I was still working out, but I was eating horrible, so it didn't matter. But at that point, I had stopped working out. I had gone really bad as far as the eating was going. I was eating very poorly. I don't think I had just gotten married. Like there was so many things that had taken place that no one was really stopping us. I just bought a house. There was a lot of like life factors, I guess, that no one was really like stopping to say, hey, Dom, I know you got so much going on, but have you thought about taking care of your health? You know what I mean? Like, no one really, honestly. Maybe my mom a few times would be like, hey, put on a few pounds there, you know, and I would just giggle. And I was chubby most of my life, so it was never something I wasn't used to kind of being, you know.
Do you think that I asked Benjo also the same question. Do you think that people just kind of have to they just have to make that decision for themselves to change, to get healthy, to make that transformation, or is it possible for somebody on the outside to encourage them, short of like insulting them, like and offending them, like happened to you?
I think it does take sometimes. You have to have somebody kind of snap you into reality. And I
Mhm.
think that's the hardest part for most people, you know, like misery loves company. And unfortunately, we live in a very unhealthy society. So very few people are on the trend of being fit and being healthy. So it's kind of hard. Like me, I struggle to find a gym partner. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to get people to go consistently to anything. So for me, even at that time, I was doing it alone. You know, my partner at the time was not really trying to eat a healthier lifestyle. She was not somebody who exercised or anything like that. So I was doing that on my own. And it was just a matter of me cooking 2 different meals, like making sure I was getting everything I wanted and eating properly and all that stuff. So it's literally, you have to change your mindset, because if you're not going to do it, no one's going to do it for you.
What was the hardest part? When you finally, right, you were 345, you met your cousin at the wedding and you said, okay, I got to make a change. What did you turn to? Did you buy a book? Did you go to the internet? Did
Man,
you
that's a great
like all of
question.
a
So
sudden
I
come
did.
home and throw away all your junk food? What did you do?
I said, you know what? So I need to do something that I know I'm going to enjoy, and I have to be able to maintain it. So as much as I love food, the thing I do love the most is like meat. You know what I mean? So I was like, so if I have to sacrifice anything, I'll give up the rice and I'll give up that stuff, but I can't give up the meat. So I was looking for a diet, and I found, paleo for me at the time worked really well. So I did start on that paleo diet, which for those that don't know, paleo is the caveman diet. You basically are just eating, vegetables, you're eating fruits, occasionally a potato here or there, but the whole thought process is if you can't pick it, kill it, or catch it, you can't eat it. So I was very just eating lean meats. I was eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. That was very difficult because I was never a vegetable person. So to switch all of a sudden and just trying to start all these vegetables is different. I also did something, I had done a lot of research and juicing. I did a lot of juicing to cleanse my system. So I would drink like 2 or 3 power juices a day along with my steady proteins. So, I could have a green juice with a piece of chicken, and people are like, oh my God, that's not lunch, but it is. It's like having a salad as a drink, and you have all your nutrients, all your vitamins, and a full piece of protein. So I was still able to eat something without just having a liquid diet, but I was still getting the right nutrients. So one of the things I like to talk a lot about with my clients is, so that proper nutrition. At 340 pounds, I gained over 160 pounds of excess weight that my body shouldn't have had. I don't have a single stretch mark. I don't have excess skin. I've never had any surgeries. So if you eat right and you do it the right way, your body will adjust just the way it's supposed to. Now, with extreme diets, you see a lot of people yo-yo so quickly, they have stretch marks or their skin doesn't fluctuate.
That's interesting.
And a lot of that has to do with the nutrition and the process they took to lose the weight. Because, a lot of people go to extremes, and you can go on a shake diet, which, is great. You're going to lose the weight. But if you lose it too quickly, your body can't keep up. It can't catch up with that elastic. Your skin is elastic. It's going to overstretch. And then you get it to a point where it doesn't ease back into it. It's never going to be the same.
That's super powerful. That's actually super interesting. I think, if anything, that alone is worth the whole interview. Because what you did was, I like what the way that you put it. Did you do it on purpose, or was that almost like accidental? You got good results in the sense that they were sustainable.
Oh, I had no idea that, it would avoid. I wasn't even thinking about the excess skin thing. I was like, 350 pounds, and I'm like, I just want to get this weight off. I was never even thinking that. But it wasn't until I lost all the weight that I had a bunch of people that had the same 100+ pound weight loss. Because in total, I lost at one point 100. I was at 350 at my best point. I went down all the way to 185. I was at that point, like you say, extreme. 5% body fat. Totally shredded, the whole nine. And at that point, I had lost 100 and almost 55 pounds. So at my biggest to my lightest, you're talking about almost a whole person. That's you. That's like you.
That's like me, dude. I'm like, right now I'm actually trying to gain some lean mass, And, I was just telling my wife that I'm like, I can't eat it anymore. I'm like,
It's
but
very hard.
like,
It's
but
very hard.
listen, I mean, I don't know if you guys are, did I lose you there?
No, you're still there. Hold on.
Okay.
There you go.
I don't know if you can, I mean, you lost me. I'm like, right now, I'm like 160 pounds more or less. And I mean, you lost like a human. You were walking around with an extra human on your back.
I make the joke all the time. I ate the old me. Like I was like, I ate the old person that I used to be.
Wow. So what kept you motivated? Because you said that your partner at the time really wasn't on the same wavelength, right?
No, at all. And unfortunately, and this is another thing. I mean, I was going through a lot of life events, and at that same token, unfortunately, as I started losing my weight, at the time, my relationship also fell apart. So I went through a divorce, which would make most people spiral back. Remember, food was my clutch, and I flipped the switch and went the other way. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this and I'm going to use it in the right way. And I took all that extra energy, and then I really started training intensely, and I really got into HIIT training and Tabatas and those things that I post on our fit chats and stuff. But what really helped me was that keeping that mindset. Now, after that, I got so excited by the results that I got and how it inspired everybody kept telling me they were by seeing me, that I decided to go out and I got certified, became a personal trainer. I started taking on clients. I became a certified trainer. I was going to people's homes and I started seeing people lose the weight that I lost. I was able to help other people do the same thing. And that has just kept me going, because to this day, I have people that I run into and they're like, man, it's amazing to see that you still look like this. I've run into people I haven't seen in 7 years and they're blown away because they can't believe I look so different now, and it's not at a point in my life. I was never fit always. I was never thin. I was always a chubby kid. So at the age of 30, when most people are gaining weight, I look better than I've ever looked in my life at 35 now. You know what I mean? Like, it's phenomenal to me. It's been 5 years and I've never gone back.
And what was the hardest part? What was the hardest part for you? Was there like a particular hard part that, like when you talk to your clients?
Truly getting into the root of the fact that if you do not change your relationship with food, you will never truly see the results you're looking for. And I think that's the hardest part for people to realize. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And you'll hear that a million times in every, trendy workout and every diet. And it's just truth. Like, you can't out train, a bad diet. No matter, like me, I was working out like a monster at some points, but I was going home and eating horrible nachos and pizza and all that stuff. So if I trained, 2 hours a day and then I ate 2,000 calories, I just blew all the work that I put in, because your body rebuilds off the nutrition you provided. So if you're working out extremely hard and then eating junk, your body's rebuilding off the junk, and your body's going to look like junk. Not to say that people have junk bodies, but it just as a reference, you know what I mean? So for me, the most important part and most important factor is the psychology behind helping people understand that, until they change the fact that they see food as, a crutch, a celebratory thing. When it's your birthday, you go out for food and drinks. When it's a party, you go to food and drink. When you start to think, that was a unexpected solicitation. But that comes, and that's truly it. It's a mindset. And if you can get people to change the mindset, that's it. Because once you get that mindset to switch, you can keep it going. But for most people, it's just hard. And it's that everybody around you is not like that. So that's why they say like-minded people, drive towards that. This fitness thing we have going is amazing because everybody on the chat is on the same page, but not everybody's friends and family are on the same page. So it's, when you get out of that group, it's a different world. And you have to remember that at the end of the day, your world, your body is the most important thing. And if you don't take care of that, no one else is going to take care of it for you.
And there's just so many, so many questions. so the hardest part for you was the mindset, your thought process about the food, right?
Oh, and by that even more, no, fatty to heart. The hardest part was to avoid the cookies and the cakes and going into Publix and not going near the bakery and not going near the frozen food section. And not, for me, the hardest part was avoiding all the things that I thought my whole life was about. You know what I mean? Like, my entire entire life. I was a fat kid, like I was the kid that, would hide chocolates in his room so that his mom didn't take them away. Like I was bad. Like my parents didn't even keep soda in the house. You know what I mean? Like, so it was serious. And for me to just completely change, I was drinking at one point when I was at 350, close to 2-3 bottles of soda to myself. And I'm not talking like cans. I mean like 2 liters. I was drinking maybe 2 liters a day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. That response is exactly why I had to make a change, because you don't realize it. You don't realize it. A day in the life for me. This was a good night. I would come home on a Friday night. I would make a large plate of nachos as an appetizer just for me because I was hungry. Huge plate of nachos. This is like half a bag of chips, Tostito sauce, the whole nine, extra cheese on top. I'm gonna do that with about 3 beers, and then after that, I'll wash it down with a cup of Coke. After that, we're gonna have dinner. Dinner is not healthy at all. Maybe a big old pie of pizza. I'm gonna eat half of that for myself because my significant other is probably hungry too, so I have to share. But I'm gonna drown that down. I'm gonna drown that down with a half a liter of Coke, like to the face. And then after that, it's dessert time, and I'm gonna eat a whole pint of ice cream by myself. And the problem is back then I would finish all that and feel like it is nothing. If I tried to do that today, I would probably vomit, because my body is just not adapted to that. But at that point in my life, I didn't see anything wrong. And that's the biggest problem. I didn't see anything wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and that's the mindset again. Like, if you don't truly understand what you're doing is hurting yourself, then what's foul? There's no foul play. You know what I mean? There's nothing to feel bad about. And that's the part that most people don't understand. Like, you'll see heavy people, and I get it all the time. How can they live like that? They don't know any different. They don't think there's anything wrong with it. And that's the mindset you have to help people change. That's the most important part.
And so in your opinion, like you said, I mean, sometimes people that are unhealthy, that are living with unhealthy habits, they just don't know any better. So what do you tell them? Like when you maybe run into a client or somebody that do you bring it up? Like, do you say, I don't know, do you say, hey, have you thought of getting healthier, right? Have you thought of losing weight? Or do you just not even bring it up at all until they start the conversation?
Absolutely not. What I tell people is, if you want to change your life, you have to start small. You have to make the realization. The first conversation I have with any client, big, small, indifferent, doesn't matter, is what is your life like daily? Because your daily routine significantly will make the difference in everything. So a lot of people eat unhealthy because they don't know how to fit healthy into their life. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people feel like they don't have the time to meal prep, or they don't have the time to get the snacks they need. So what do? They eat on the run. There's a cafeteria by the job. There's a Starbucks. And those on the run meals is what causes most people's weight gain. Most people would eat healthy, believe it or not, because I get that a lot with my clients, if they understood how to. But they don't. They don't understand that there's healthier choices, even at the places they go to. So again, it's about education. Like anything else, I think it's not that people want to be heavy. I just think they're miseducated on what they're doing. And unfortunately, because of their hustle bustle lifestyle, they're not able to educate themselves properly. So that's where I come in as a trainer. I can help people do that. But on a mass appeal, you really have to help people understand that they're gaining weight because they need to understand that the food relationship that their body has is not what they think. It's not just about, I'm hungry, let me eat something, because what you eat is going to make you feel tired, lazy, happy, etc. So a lot of people run around unhealthy. They run around tired all the time. They run around lethargic. They feel bad. They have stomach problems, the digestive issues, and all that has to do with the relation to the food that they're feeding their body. Because once you decide to truly change that and you eat not an extreme lifestyle, I tell everybody, you start small. You know what I mean? Like, cut one thing out and add one thing. So if in a day you have to have, a big bowl of white rice, cut that white rice in half. Instead of a full bowl, have half a bowl and trade in the other half of the bowl for a vegetable. Now you're still getting a little bit of that rice you have to have, but you're adding a vegetable. So now your body's also getting some quality nutrition. And eventually you can replace that whole rice with the broccoli or the asparagus or whatever you're eating, because your body would have adapted to it. So it's not a problem anymore, because now you're used to it. Just like you're used to French fries and cheeseburgers. You can make your body get used to anything you truly want it to be.
And how long did it take you to lose, let's say, 150, 160 pounds?
9 months.
9 months. That's actually pretty fast.
Absolutely.
How did you do it so fast? What was going on in your brain? What was going on in your brain? I mean, did you like when they said, "Listen, man, you're fat," and did you like just go into like the eye of the tiger all of a sudden and like just like full speed ahead, or were you like, well, let me try to, maybe like I'll walk a little bit, or what happened?
Because of the issues with my back, because of what I said about me having knee troubles, those kind of things, I couldn't do a lot of working out at 350. So I started with the food, and I realized that if I wasn't going to be able to exercise, I had to make sure that I was extremely on point with the food. So I was very particular about what I was eating. I avoided all the foods, and I started slowly by walking. So I would walk, but I wouldn't just like, oh, I'm just going to walk for a month. No, I would walk the first week, and then the next week I would add a little bit of a light jog, and then until my body was comfortable with it. And after 4 weeks, I was all right. Let me start lifting some weights, and that repetition. Now, people don't understand. You can literally change your entire body in 90 days. Most transformations are 90 days. 12 weeks, 4 full months of a transformation, like what we're doing is enough time to see results that people have dreamed about. But what does it take is the mindset. It takes you saying, okay, I'm going to do what I have to do every day until I hit that goal. And that's what I did. Every day I set a new goal for myself until I was not running anymore or walking anymore. Now I was taking mile-long jogs. Now I was running to the park. Now I was signing up for CrossFit. Now I was going and doing something. And I was always pushing myself a little bit more to better improve my body. So what helped me get there so quickly was I was never settling. If I could jog at 5 miles an hour, I wanted to jog at 8 miles an hour. If I was running 3 miles, I wanted to run 5 miles. So I was always upping it for myself. And that's what helped me get to my goal so quickly.
Why were you so ambitious? Like what drove you?
Man, so even to this day, results are addictive. Results are addictive for me. So you lost me again. I apologize. My screensaver keeps cutting you off. Results are addictive, and when I started seeing those results, I got addicted, and I just didn't want to stop, and I wanted to see how much more I could do, and then once you have a six pack, it's almost like the craziest feeling in the world to go from 350 pounds to being able to say, yeah, I've had a six pack. Like for me, that was just it was something I never thought was possible. And for me, I was able to make that dream come true. And at that point, I realized you can accomplish anything you want. Like anything you want to accomplish is possible, because when you set your mind to something, nothing can break it.
So, it's funny that you say that, because, I mean, I go back to, I probably sound like a broken record. I tell my, I'm a real estate broker, and, I have some agents, and I tell them all the same thing all the time. And that, sales and business and that for me, the fitness is not about the six pack. That's just like a side benefit, but it's the idea of, you set yourself a goal and you go through this process, and who you have to become mentally, emotionally, right? Like the person that you have to become, the routines that you have to like just adapt, right? Adopt for yourself.
Yep.
That for me, that's what it's about. And then, like you said, the results become addicting, and it's an addiction to like achieving goals.
Yep.
And that confidence that comes from, okay, I'm gonna try to, I don't know, like run 1 mile, and then you do it, you're like, oh crap, I did it. So maybe I could do 2 miles, maybe I could do 3, maybe I could do like, like I'm capable. This thing is possible, right? Like for me, that's what it's about. That's like what you're saying, right?
Absolutely. One of the greatest feelings I have is I ran my first Spartan race right after I had lost all that weight. Like when I was like, you know what, I signed up. As soon as I had a couple of friends that were signing up, I signed up for my first Spartan race, and I placed in the top 20% of my age group, which was phenomenal. I've never been athletic. I've never been a sporty person. I never played any kind of sports. I never was part of a group of anything. So for me to be able to, in 9 months, condition myself to get to the top 20% of people who had been training, some for years, for these type of events, it was really a great feeling. And that is gratifying for me, knowing how far I was able to push myself and how much more I'm capable of just by keeping it up, just by not quitting on myself. I think it's the hardest thing is believing in yourself. I think honestly, Juan, the hardest thing for most people is the belief in oneself, because people can tell you you're amazing, but for you to say you're amazing is a lot harder.
What would you tell people who say, to people that maybe, let's say, want to get a six pack, right? Or like, let's say somebody like you, right? Like people that have gotten a six pack, continue to have a six pack, right? Like, what would you tell somebody that says, that's just narcissistic, right? Like, that's just all about the looks. Like, that's just unnecessary. What would you tell somebody like that?
Teach their own. No, but I think honestly, it's not about I think some people just really like to look like that. And for some people, like I said, once you put your mindset to it, I mean, for someone who's never had it, it seems impossible because of the eating and the working out. But once you do it every day, I wake up every day at 4:30 in the morning without an alarm, just because my mind knows that we got 30 minutes to get up, get dressed, and get to the gym, because at 5, I got to be there. That's when the doors open. And I do that every day without an alarm. Why? Because I'm crazy? That's what my girlfriend would tell you. But in reality, it's because my body's set. That's it. I've created a clock. That also means I'll be passed out by 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? Your body needs rest. And I have a schedule in it. It becomes a routine because you've already set yourself. So I'm able to maintain a body type that I like because it's part of my everyday, not because I'm narcissistic. It's just because it's my routine. Most people are fat because it's their routine. So you can't knock it till you try it. If you want it, you can get it. To anybody who looks at someone with six pack and says you're narcissistic, it's because they don't think it's possible. They think that person's giving up on life, but they're not. You know what I mean? They're not. I still enjoy a good beer. I still enjoy desserts. I still have a great time on the weekends. And I don't have a six pack year round because that's not the life I've chosen for myself. But I do manage to maintain that lean fit. I don't get obese again. I don't put on 40 excess pounds of, weight. And I maintain that because I'm up going to the gym. I'm eating what I need to eat. I'm maintaining that focus, and I carry that into every aspect of my life. Do you have any other really good questions you want to hit with?
Okay. All right. So sorry, I think we had a little bit of technical difficulties there, but yeah, I mean, it literally just goes back to the mindset, and it goes back to, it's funny how you say that, like once you adopted this mindset and this routine, that's just how you operate at this point. There's just almost no going back, right?
That's correct. And if anybody asks me, what is it that keeps you there? Honestly, it's just the feeling. I mean, once you truly achieve the goal you set out to, the feeling of gratification, the inspiration that you give to other people. I mean, it's really funny. People will mock somebody for looking good, or, oh, I can't believe he has a six pack all the time, or this guy doesn't eat, or he's a Nazi. But the reality is most people see that, and it's something that people just don't feel is possible to achieve, or is impossible to aspire to, especially if you are 350 pounds. You know what I mean? I never thought at 350 that I was going to be, running a Spartan race. I could barely run down the block. You know what I mean? It sounds funny, but it's the absolute fact. You know what I mean? For me, the hardest thing always has just been that, I can't believe I ever got to that point, because I'll never go back there. At this point, I can't even believe that was a person I ever was, because my mindset is so far from there.
That was going to be one of my last questions is, do you feel like you're a different human, like a different person?
Yes.
Now compared to?
I tell people that all the time. I am not the same person I was 5 years ago. Everything about me is different.
Yeah.
I'm still super funny, but besides that, everything else about me is different. But I truly can say that I'm happier now because I'm living the life I've always wanted. I'm a healthy, vibrant, and I'm not going into any younger ages. Unfortunately, we don't reverse in age. We only get older. And men, especially as we hit 30 and past that, it's harder for us to maintain muscle mass. So if you're in your late 30s going into your 40s and you've already quit on yourself, you're not making it easier, because the biological clock is going to be working against you. So you have to, at that point, try even harder. So it's truly important for people to understand the importance of being healthy young and maintaining that, because it doesn't get easier. It really takes you pushing harder to keep it. And that's just about how good you want to feel. Everybody around you is tired. Everybody around you is lethargic. Everybody around you is, doesn't seem very happy all the time. And why? because a lot of them don't feel very good inside, and it has a lot to do with our nutrition, our diet, our lifestyle. So you can change those things. It's up to you to change those things.
So what is your usual, so you told us a little bit about your routine in terms of waking up early, like 4:30 in the morning, you're out cold by like 10. What is your eating routine like nowadays? Do you eat like 99% point, or what is it like?
I'll tell you exactly. So I'm at the gym at 5 in the morning. Like I said, I'm at the gym from 5 to 6. I have exactly 1 hour. I get home. I do all the stuff in the house. We have 3 kids. We do all the stuff with the kids in the morning. After that, I get my stuff ready. For me, breakfast is I have a protein shake right after the gym. I use egg whites instead of water. That's a little secret because it adds more protein to it, a little bit more mass to it, and it changes the flavor. So I get about 50 grams of protein in the morning. Yeah, 50 grams of protein. And then 2 hours after that, I'm going to have my first real meal. And that's usually going to be 3 or 4 hard-boiled eggs. I usually have that with like some oatmeal or something like that. My next meal after that's going to be lunch. Lunch is usually chicken with some kind of vegetable, meat with some kind of vegetable, maybe a small carb like rice or something like that. 2 hours after that, I eat again. I do eat every 3 hours. And I'll have something like a quick protein bar or something of that nature. And then dinner. And right before bed, I'll have another protein shake.
So how many calories, how much are you walking around? Like what type of weight are you walking around now? More or less.
I try to stay between, I like to maintain more muscle mass. So I try to stay between 2 and 215.
2 and 215. Okay. I mean, you're good. And how tall are you?
Yeah. I'm 6 feet tall. So that's with muscle mass. That's a solid weight.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, to put it in retrospect, I'm right now, as of recently, I'm at 15%. If you're looking at, you want to scale the body fats. Yeah, right. Correct.
Okay. I mean, but that's pretty healthy. The reason I ask is that it almost doesn't seem like you're eating a lot from the way you're describing your meals. You're not eating like massive lunches, massive dinners. Like it's all very moderate, just like spread out during the day.
It's about between when I'm trying, because so I also I mean I do cycle as far as when I'm trying to gain weight and when to lose weight and stuff, and that's all again just my own personal goals and things like that. But I try to maintain between 2,000 and 3,000 calories a day.
Between 2,000 and 3,000?
2,000 and 3,000. Like even though it doesn't sound like a lot, I'm when you take into consideration lunch is like 2 chicken breasts and like 2 cups of vegetables, and so I do pile it up. I try to get at least 200 grams of protein a day, minimal. So for some people that would be a lot because that's you're averaging 40 grams per meal. So that in itself could be a lot. 200 grams of protein. I'm getting. I don't eat a lot of carbs. That's what I don't eat a lot of. I like fat. I eat a lot of fat. So I do, like if I want a much, I have almonds, nuts. I do a lot of almond butter. I like coconut oil. I put coconut oil on a lot of stuff.
But when you say that you eat a lot of fat, we're not talking about like just fatty stuff, just the healthy
remember,
fats.
No. Healthy fats, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
That's it. I just eat a lot of healthy fats. So yeah, like coconut oil, all of that would all be the healthy fats. I'm not talking like chocolate bars and like, I'm not taking like bars of butter and like eating that or anything like that. Nothing like that.
All right. Sounds good. Dom, listen, I really appreciate your time, man. This has been absolutely, I think, invaluable to me. Hopefully a lot of people will find value in it too. What would you tell right now? We're about halfway through our fitness challenge, our 12-week fitness challenge. Are there any words of wisdom that you'd like to share with the group for some of the people that are like halfway through it? What would you like to tell them?
Absolutely. You've already made it past the hardest part because you've already done the first step, which was changing your mindset and getting started. The rest of it's easy. I just stick to it. Don't quit. You're going to be so excited by the results. You're going to be blown away. Even if you're not seeing it day to day, that compound interest at the end of that is going to just blow your mind. I'm super excited. You know, I think it's going to be one of the hardest things to judge because I know the excitement on the group chat. I know how much people are putting in, how much sweat's going into this. And I'm just really excited to see everybody's results and how hard everybody really worked for it. And don't quit. And if you have questions, concerns, please reach out to me. I would love to help anybody who's really trying to make it to the next level.
Cool, man. Awesome. How can people get in touch with you? What's your like Instagram handle? What's your how can they reach you?
You can reach me. It's super easy. You can reach me on Instagram at DungeonFit, DungeonFit. Anything, you can message me. It's open. It's to the public. So go in there, check it out. I have videos. I post workouts, and any advice, questions, feel free, shoot away.
Okay, awesome. And I think at one point you had some videos on YouTube also, right?
I do. If you go to Diet Spotlight's YouTube channel, I've reviewed and spoken about the 200 hottest diet trends, products, pills, and really broken down their ingredients and what's in them and the pros and cons. So if you really want to check out, maybe you're taking some diet pills, you want.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think we actually lost Dominic at this point. I think his phone is about to die. But anyway, I hope you guys found a lot of value in this interview. If you have any questions for Dominic, you know how to reach him. I'm glad that you guys watched it all the way to the end. And I wish you guys much success, and I will catch you in the next video.